very, very blustery Morecambe Bay, and in today's video I want to talk about my tripod again. I've been banging on about this three-legged thing now for about 5 months, but I finally today come to what I feel like is a little bit of a conclusion. Another wonderful local location. Let's go and see what we can find with the camera. Mates, gosh, it's so windy. It was forecast about 30 miles an hour. I think where this particular location is, we'll get there in a minute where I want to be, but like proper right down the throat of Morecambe Bay, and the way that the wind tends to fly up the bay, we're going to be getting the thick of it, like it or not. But we're out here living the dream. Now, before we get into any photography, I want to talk about this location. A lot of you will probably notice this location already, because I was here, what, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and if you remember, I spent quite a lot of time here by this river, the River Keir I think it's called, without exploring up that way, which I now know are a load of sort of slag heap deposits, excuse the language. But yeah, I remember saying when I was there that I really want to come back and check out those slag heaps and that general area around there where we get a bit closer to the coast, to Morecambe Bay. We get some really beautiful vistas back towards the Lake District National Park, so that's exactly what I'm doing today. Now, of course, I want to talk about my tripod. I think today should be a good example, because I reckon it'll be a nice mixture of using the tripod and shooting handheld, but we'll get into that. First things first, let's find something to get the camera out for. Ah. Grab a shot here now, and this is a bit weird actually, because for anybody that watched that video when I was last at this location, you'll remember, I'll pop it up on the screen, I got this photograph, shot it handheld. I can't actually remember which lens I used. It was definitely either my wide angle or my 16 to 35, and it was either way, it was at quite a wide angle. But this is going to be really similar, and I'm kind of taking inspiration from that photograph that was taken when I was last here. So I'm definitely going to shoot in like a monochrome. So in fact, give me a second, I'm going to pop my live view on monochrome now. There we go, so I've got that set there now. So it's on, like, see how it's like on a black and white view, basically like a monochrome view. And you know, I use my view finder a lot of the time. Sometimes I use my live view. I've been using it a lot more since I've been, you know, doing my handheld stuff to show you guys how I'm taking photographs, and I quite like it, you know. But showing the image on black and white on the live view just helps me to visualize what I'm photographing, actually how I'm going to post-process the image as well. So this is going to be really cool. It's all about light, and I'm really excited because the last video that I did, I spoke so much about light. I've come out this evening for the sunset. We are an hour and a half, nose is running like mad, an hour and a half till sunset, but I don't know if it's going to be one of those, you know, really nice colourful evenings. However, as you can see, we've got some beautifully dramatic light and just some gorgeous, gorgeous clouds. I have been thoroughly enjoying every single second of photographing these sorts of conditions recently. So this is the first time I'm looking at this through the back of my camera. I'll tell you what, I'll put you in the point of view position now so you can see what I'm seeing. Alright, so there we go, and you can see, look at that, I'll turn the exposure down a little bit. Look at how beautiful that sky is. All the greys and darkness up here on the top right, and then all these light patches here, and of course the way it's all sort of reflecting from the foreground area here. So it is quite windy, but I'm just going to work with it. So again, like I said in that last video, you know, I'm just working with the conditions I've got. I was hoping for a nice colourful sunset, but I haven't got that, you know. So first things first, as always, focus. About 1/3 of the way in, and let's try f8 and 1/80th of a second. I haven't got VR on this 11 to 16 Takina, but 1/80th is going to be absolutely fine, especially considering I'm shooting at 11mm, you know. So I'm going to get everything off the screen so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to use the rule of thirds. I've just got the horizon on that top third level, and this is something I've noticed is quite prominent in my photographs. I do it quite a lot. I like having something leading up from one of the bottom corners, and in this case it's the bottom right hand corner, and it's the pool you can see there that's kind of leaning up the way, which is fantastic. And that's it, black and white. It's all about textures, and I'd like to think most importantly about light. So we'll grab that now. Absolutely wonderful. So you're seeing that up on the screen now. I'm going to take one a bit of a quicker shutter speed, just because I noticed my histogram is clipping ever so slightly, but that one was probably fine. That one's just a bit of a fail-safe. Brilliant. So that's the first one in the bag, and I'd like to think that that looks quite dramatic and really captures the mood of this windy, blustery, dramatic evening thus far. So I'll get myself packed up, get the tripod out, and we'll talk a little bit about it. I'm hiding behind one of these little heaps here just to get out of the wind so we can chat about the tripod. I feel like my hat's going to blow off. Oh, which, by the way, Fell is a brewery called Fell Brewery, believe it or not, and they're based proper local. I'm not affiliated with them at all, but I just love their beer, so I bought one of the hats and I said to them, I'm going to start wearing it in my videos. Proper nice beers if you fancy them. I'll tell you what, I'll put a link to their website. I think they do like free delivery over a certain amount nationwide. I don't know, I'm quite into my craft beers, and I'd prefer to buy from like a local brewery rather than Amazon or something. I buy enough stuff off Amazon, but it's just coincidental as well that they make really nice beers, so definitely go and check them out. If you want to sponsor me, by the way, Fell, just get in touch. Fell, by the way, if anyone doesn't know, is the Old Norse word for mountain. The Old Norse word would have been fjell, so it's kind of been anglicised over the centuries, but I love that, it's quite romantic. We're looking over towards the fells. Right, let's talk about the tripod anyway. This isn't a channel about beer. Why am I going to be using it a lot less? Fortunately, this is very simple because it's so blustery. I need to battle against this wind to find another photograph. Just because I have really enjoyed shooting handheld, and this is the main thing. Unless my shutter speed is too slow to shoot handheld, I won't be using the tripod. Alright, so something like 1/13 of a second I've figured, unless it's my wide angle lens, which doesn't have VR, which should be like 1/40th of a second or something like that. So unless I need to, practically, because my shutter speed is too long, I'll just be shooting a handheld from now on. So if I'm doing a long exposure deliberately, like a waterfall or something, or if I want moving clouds in the photograph, or if I want to capture the movement of the clouds, sorry, then I'll use my tripod then, obviously. Or if it's too dark, we might see this happening in a minute, or you know, we're about 30 minutes till the sunset. If it's too dark and my shutter speed is, you know, long enough that I need to use the tripod just so I can get the exposure right, then I'll use the tripod. You know, I ain't going to shoot 1 second long exposures handheld. And that's it, simple as that. So I feel like this little experiment really over lockdown has been a huge success, really. It has, you know, for me. And I love it. I feel like I've become a lot more relaxed as a photographer. I'm enjoying just grabbing my camera out of my bag and taking photographs, you know. It's not a nightmare getting the tripod out, but it's, I'm sure some of us can agree, it's just a little bit faffy, you know, having to stop, extend the legs, you know, smash the camera on the top. You know, it's not the end of the world, but I feel like I'm more inclined to just take photographs because I ain't got to bother messing around with the tripod. I can just sling my bag around, get the camera out, take some handheld photographs, you know. If you're new to my channel, if you're listening to this, you're probably thinking, well, that's when you'd use a tripod anyway. But no, like, I'm the type of photographer, I would have always used my tripod, like, no matter what. Even if I was shooting at like 1/1000th of a second, you know. And I think there's a lot of us that are like that, judging by the comment section on my videos and stuff, you know. So that's what I'm going to do going forward, and I'm really excited about that, you know, for my photographic journey, just to use my tripod less, basically just use it when I need to use it as per the shutter speed. Right, not long till the sunset. The sky's looking lovely, it's cleared up a little bit, and there's a few gaps up there, you know. It's looking like the sun could potentially peek out every now and again, but at the very least, any photographs with the sky are going to be really nice either way. So, let's see what we can find. Let's get out into the wind again. Oh, the wind! I hope you can hear me alright. And this is going to be a good example with everything that I've just spoken about with regards to my tripod. Now, before we get into this photograph, 100% credit has to go to a gentleman called Anthony, who I met when I was last here. He was kind enough to send me some of his photographs that he had taken from this particular area, and this was one of them, and I'm basically just imitating it. So Anthony, I hope you don't mind, mate. And it's a wonderful composition, and it's going to work nicely now. I'd say Anthony's shot was much better. He on that particular evening, I think he returned later on, he'd said in the email, but he got a lot of really nice side light, and I felt like it just suited this scene wonderfully. But this is going to be nice. We've got a nice moody sky, we've still got the drama going on, and I'm just going to make sure that I don't overexpose any of the highlights up there in the sky to make sure that I can bring that out. You know, like I said in my last video, what is your day about? What's the evening about? What's the morning about? Try and make the most of it and tell that story, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. So F11 ISO 100, and again, this is a great example with the tripod because I'm getting a shutter speed. I'm not prioritizing my shutter speed. I'll change my shutter speed so that I get the correct exposure, and it's 1/5 of a second, so I couldn't shoot that handheld even if I did have vibration reduction. So as far as I'm concerned, the tripod is mandatory here. I'm just focusing whoa! There we go. I'm focusing 1/3 of the way in. Don't hit me again. And I'm shooting at F11. This is no good. This is no good. F11 because we've got quite a lot in the frame, all the way from the foreground up to this heap in the background, this slag heap, and then some of the background where we get in Ulverston and some of the fells. And it's nice. It's a nice composition. You know, I really think it's capturing the life of this landscape, the beautiful patterns down here in the foreground, and of course that nice dramatic sky. So I'll grab that now. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I've got a 2-second timer on, and I'm going to stand in front of the camera and the tripod to stop the wind from doing that to this tripod. Stop it from shaking. And there we go. Let's check that. Yeah, Instagram is spot on. Oh, carnage. Oh, living the dream. Carnage and living the dream in one sentence. That's what it's all about, isn't it, landscape photography? Just throwing yourself head on into that carnage. I hope you like this photograph. Potentially could be the last one of the evening, because I'm going to say it again, it is windy. Start focusing now. Yeah, there we go. The weather forecast, the wind forecast was 30 miles an hour. I'm not having that. 30 miles an hour in itself is heavy enough, strong enough, but this is, we've got to be over 40 here. Oh man. So with that being said, it's time to get home and grab myself a cup of tea, because that is too much. So I must admit, I've really enjoyed it this evening. I do feel a little bit disappointed because I've come back to this darned location once again to try and explore it some more. But the conditions are pretty grim, to be honest. I can't really lie about that one. But as I always say with the local landscapes, the local locations, you can always come back, can't you? It's so close to home, so it's just something else to look forward to, you know. Right, I'm having a sugar in my cup of tea when I get home as well. Not messing about. I deserve one after this. Thanks for tuning in. Please give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. This is watch wanting. Oh, it's a phone call. I'll have to go. Check out Bell Brewery as well. See you on the next one. Bye.